Hey, what's going on YouTube? Welcome back to another YouTube video. And on today's video, I want to share with you guys something that's really important and valuable to me. It's a lesson that I learned very on in life that I noticed many people around this age group demographic of around 18 to maybe early 20s don't really learn too much about. And I know life is pretty tricky. There's oftentimes a lot of us running just off our intuition and what our parents tell us, but there's not too many individuals giving pieces of advice that I feel like are very fundamental to one's, strive towards financial freedom or financial stability. So if you haven't really noticed already, money is a huge component in this life. If you want to go ahead and build your own home, begin to buy your dream car, travel the world, just have nice dinners, go explore, right? Get out there, enjoy the amenities of life, the luxuries that are out there. It does require a significant amount of income. And more importantly, disposable income, money that, hey, after paying your responsibilities, you can go and spend comfortably, or maybe invest comfortably to build something for your future, to build yourself more of a cushion so you have, a sense of freedom, a sense of stability where you're not always constantly stressed about paying your bills, your rent, you can say your car payment, insurance payments, maybe debt that you have. It's a very difficult place to be mentally when you have a lot of financial stress. And oftentimes, a lot of individuals send themselves in these situations without really being conscious of them doing it. And it just creeps up behind them, and before they know it, now they're in debt and they have financial stress that they didn't before. So before any of you guys go and send you guys into debt and run into, problems financially, I want to give you guys a little piece of advice that helped me in my life. And it's how I structured my philosophy around building income and preserving income and growing income. So first things first, obviously all of us must at this point have a source of income, whether it be a job, a business, or some sort of investments. When you do receive this income, it's very important that you switch your philosophy around it. See, when you're young, typically when you're probably living with your parents or you have resources available to you, oftentimes you're going to be more tempted to go enjoy it. Oftentimes human psychology, the second we earn the reward, we want to go use the reward, right? In this case, working for money. When you get the money, oftentimes we think about, hey, let's go have dinner here, or let's go to the movies, or let's go to the fair, let's go to the beach, let's go explore, right? It's human nature to always want to go and spend, to go enjoy, to go experience, and that's completely normal. But for many individuals that don't have necessarily that stability, I think for myself growing up, not having a place to really live, sharing, my friends' couches and growing up in a state of scarcity, it switched my psychology from being the common individual that just wants to go spend and enjoy and experience to someone that wanted to preserve and grow. And that's a big shift that happens mentally, but it happens when you endure more responsibility. See, if your responsibilities and your, cost of living are so low, you're not responsible for too much, you haven't bitten more than you can chew, you're kind of enjoying the comforts of, the resources you have available to you, it's not always going to click to you to want to go preserve your money. You're always going to fall in that loop of spending, experiencing, going out, having fun. And it's great, don't get me wrong, but there's a shift or point in your life where you have to get serious. You have to understand, hey, I'm getting older, I can't live with my parents, I should be a little bit more mature. Maybe one day want my own family, I have to start preparing myself for that. And these are conversations that happen in life when you mature, but for some people it happens sooner than others. So in my case, I did pick up on this very early, and I recommend you guys do as well. So before you go to thinking about spending or experiencing, I highly recommend you do something that I call paying yourself. See, oftentimes we go and work, we kill ourselves to make money, and then we go and experience, we go and spend. Typically, most people view that as paying themselves, right? I'm gonna die tomorrow. I don't know if I'll be alive in the next week, so why save my money? I'm gonna go spend it. Well, a lot of people that fall into that loop or that pattern of thinking, they realize that they keep waking up months and years from now, and they're not going nowhere, but their money is. So it has to change at some point in your life. And when that change happens, it begins to build progress. You begin to structure your mind and psychology a little bit differently. And it's very important that you begin to develop this philosophy around your money. So once you have that ability to view it as a problem and now begin to solve it, the term paying yourself for many starts as saving. I highly recommend that every individual, while you're young, start to develop that skill set, that habit of paying yourself via saving. So let's say you get a check of $500 a week, right? Minimum wage. Out of those $500, I do agree, enjoy your life, have something built for yourself, right? To go experience, to give yourself purpose, fulfillment, enjoy the things that you want to experience out of this life. But at the same time, think about yourself. Hey, I worked all this, time and these hours. Let me go ahead and maybe give myself just $100. Boom, pay yourself. Give it back to you before you give it back to the world. Pay it to yourself, and then the next 400 that you have left over, hey, go and enjoy it. But if you're someone that has a lot more responsibilities and you're like, Jerry, I could barely pay all my bills, how am I going to save? Trust me, small amounts compound at an enormous rate. And this is a funny example. So $10,000, I think we can all agree, is a pretty lump sum of money, right? And a lot of people in their early 20s or even some in adulthood do not have this much saved. So I tell my clients all the time, you guys will be surprised how easy it is to save $10,000. And every time people think about saving, they're like, well, if I can't save hundreds of dollars, why am I even going to do it? What's the point? I'll never have anything, right? Let me show you guys a simple calculation. So let's say you want to save $10,000 in a year, right? $10,000 in a year is really doable. It's something that can really begin to provide a lot of value for yourself if used correctly. You could go ahead and contribute that to a Roth IRA. $7,500, right? Gaining at probably, let's say, 10% a year, that's going to go ahead and make you $750 a year. You go and compound that for the next 5 years without another investment of $7,500, you're going to walk away with probably roughly like $15,000, $20,000 in the next 3 years. So it grows for you. But if you go and compound another $7,500 the next year, now you're sitting at like roughly $18,000 by year 2. So it grows for you pretty significantly if you can mature and continue to contribute to it. But I know it's challenging, but I'm here to make it simplified for you guys so you understand that it's not that tricky. And also, more importantly, that saving small amounts truly does impact your financial future. Don't think because it's not hundreds or thousands, it's not worth doing, because I'll show you guys the result. So let's say you want to save $10,000 in 1 year. $10,000, right there. Let's go ahead and divide that by 365 days in a year. Boom. Out to around $28 a day, roughly, right? $28 a day, hey, that's maybe for some an hour of work or an hour and a half of work. Out of the 9 or 8 hours that you're working, some work 12, pay yourself just 1. Jerry, but it's only $28. What is that going to do for me? Dude, over the course of a year, time that many of us have already lived. Some of us are already 20. Imagine out of just one of those years, you would have just done this for a whole period straight. Or maybe, hey, you ran into some financial troubles, you did it in 2 years. But look, you're doing what 90% of people don't really have, which is 10 grand saved. Imagine the people that have understood this and have now 20, 30, 40, 50 grand saved because in the last 20 years, they've dedicated only 5 to building up an egg for themselves. More importantly, building up the habit of saving. And that's how you understand the shifts in psychology. So once you go ahead and get your 10,000 divided by 365, comes out to $28 roughly, right? Let's go ahead and sum it up. In 1 year, we've all been alive, right? Probably working now. If you started working at 18, I'm 23 myself. So that's 19, 20, 21, 22, 23. That's 5 years. Out of those 5 years, it only could maybe take you 3 that you have to sacrifice. $8 a day. Maybe 2 hours a day out of your working shift to paying yourself. And now you have an egg. And why is this so important, right? This is very important for individuals to understand and build for themselves because when you're young and you're faced with financial, I guess you can say obstacles or challenges, or more importantly, maybe trying to take that shift. Hey, I really don't like my job. I have this great business idea, or I don't have this other business idea, or maybe I want to transition into a different field, a different industry, a different business. Well, I can't do that because I have no security. And that's oftentimes how the mind works. When you don't have no security, no financial egg or protection for yourself, it's very hard for the mind to think of different ideas, such as maybe a business or maybe taking another step into another field. You're kind of confined to just one spot because this is the only source of income you have. And since you're spending and enjoying, or you built all of these kind of, you can say, expenses for yourself, hey, it's really challenging to think of an escape or a step to another direction. So if you can manage to sacrifice just 1 year of your life to saving $28 a day, maybe an hour and a half out of your shift, every single day, it's going to work for you. And this builds up the character, it builds up the responsibility, the maturity, and more importantly, the visualization to building up something for yourself. Instead of always just jumping to spending and experiencing and going out with friends while you're young, focus on yourself. I'm telling you right now, it's going to be the biggest thing ever. I had learned the hard way in my life that going out and having fun, experiencing is all great in the moment. But when the years pass by and you look back and you have nothing, and your friends are moving forward and your friends had help from their parents and they went and picked different paths and are slowly being successful, and you know, the relationships and friendships all kind of die off, because it's true. If you haven't noticed it already, once you approach your 20s, everyone starts going in their own lives. People start making their families, their wives, their girlfriends. They start hanging out with their girlfriends more than your friends. They start picking up on different habits, and then everyone just goes on to their own way, and now you're stuck there. You have to focus on yourself. You have to respect yourself and treat your financial future and situation extremely seriously. So shifting that mindset to just a little bit of a sacrifice, right? I said it. If you get paid $500, hey, $100 towards yourself. Of course, that doesn't equivalent to the $28 a day in paying yourself, but kind of understand that that's all it takes. So don't underestimate the ability of just contributing small amounts to yourself. People oftentimes, like I said, think hundreds or thousands is what it takes to build a financial security or financial structure for themselves. It's absolutely not true. Compounding is beautiful. Same thing as investing, and that's the beautiful part. Once you can save $10,000, if you were to just switch that and maybe invest $10,000, which here in the state of California, the Roth IRA maximum contribution is $7,500. $7,500 at 10%. Let's go ahead and do the math on this, right? I like to show this example to my clients as well. Times 0.10, 750 plus your initial 7,500, you're at 8,250. Now you go ahead and multiply that by another 10%. This is year 2 of compounding. You're going to be at 825 plus 8,250. Boom, year 3 of compounding. Now you're at 907 plus your 9075. Boom, now you're at 99.82. This is going to be year 4 of compounding, by the way. Plus your 9982. You're going to be at 10.9 thousand with just 1 year that you sacrifice 7,500 towards your Roth IRA. In 4 years, you're going to have 10.9. You contribute another 7,500. If you add, remember, this isn't going to really add up because the interest is not accumulating. It's more just like a lump sum on just 7,500. We only calculated interest on 7,500 for 4 years. But if we were to do 7,500 times the 4 years additional, it's different because usually it compounds on the whole amount. But let's just say we add just payments, no interest, right? Just the payments of every single year contributing 7,500 to yourself. Well, 7,500 we already accumulated for 1 year. Let's go into the last 3 years. So 7,500 times 2 is going to be 15,000. Then you have the other 5,000, which is going to put you at 2,250. So let's go ahead and add. It looks like we erased the number, but it was 1090, 10,980 plus the 22,500. All right. Now you're at $33.4 thousand saved in your Roth IRA or your savings, or just built for yourself. Bro, that's a lot of money to have in your early 20s. That builds a lot of financial security, and now the mind can think of ideas. Now the mind can think of business ideas. The mind can think of, let me go experience, let me go have a little bit more, a break, right? You're not thinking in terms of debt. You're not thinking about, oh, I gotta go enjoy this fun. You have power. Now you can go and maybe enjoy a little bit more or live with a better sense of comfort. And that does a lot to your self-psychology once you have this sense of comfort. Without it, you're always in a state of stress. You're always in a state of, what am I gonna do? How am I gonna figure this month out? How am I gonna take care of this debt? So before going to accumulate all this debt or taking on opportunities that you genuinely can't afford, use the opportunities of income that you have to you to save, to build up some sort of defensive structure for yourself, and more importantly, a financial egg that allows you to remove the financial stresses of my rent, my bills, my cars, my debt. Boom, it's all gone. Now you have a clear mind. Maybe jumping into your first field of sales, your first field of marketing, your first field of business. And now you can go start making moves. improving yourself, improving what it is you really want to do, or maybe dedicate your time to. And I really share this video because I feel like not too many people come and share these little perspectives with you guys. And I mean, no one told me it when I was young, and it's clear as day that if you look around in the world, not everyone has that guidance or help. So I really feel passionate and really do intend this video to help as many of you guys as possible. I hope you guys enjoyed it, and I hope it begins to shape that small contributions with a big amount of periods of time do create significant change. So never doubt the ability to save, and before you continue on to maybe feeling hopeless about building financial stability for yourself, reshape your mind and perspectives to understand that it's possible for you. And it is a sacrifice, but you have to understand that. Are you willing to sacrifice this while you're young? Or do you want to do it when you're older? Some people live in, a lot of experiences and fun and spending for the vast majority of their youth, and they have to do this later. But it happens at some point. So it's very important that you view it early on. You build up the maturity and responsibility to start acting on this a lot sooner than most. So you get that financial benefit and that head start in life to maybe begin to develop new opportunities for yourself and start creating a change in your financial future. So I hope this video finds you guys well. It's a pretty decent one that I've honestly felt in my intuitive head and I guess in my heart to help you guys. So I hope this reshapes your mind on the ability of saving and starts to push you guys to being a little bit more, I guess you can say, conscious of your financial situation and how small contributions can create big change. And with this big change, later on, uncover new ventures, take on new paths in life, and change your life completely. Money is a very important part of this life, unfortunately, but it also takes a vast amount of maturity, responsibility, and consciousness to make a change in your life to finally break free out of those struggles that we oftentimes feel so detained by, so captive to, and we let oftentimes overpower us. Learn to use your money to fight back and to create shelter. And this is a very important habit that you want to develop. You have to be a saver before you become an investor. Before you go and invest in your business or in stocks or in whatever it is you may desire that creates a bigger financial gain once you put money in it, you have to save to be able to experience, or more importantly, think of that opportunity being possible for you. See, you're not going to really think about investing in stocks, building your business, buying properties, if you have no money to do so. So saving is the key component that sparks the fire to it all. Once you have a good amount saved, which I told you $28 a day can compound over a whole year, giving you a really good edge that most people don't have. You go and ask some people around, they don't have $10,000 saved. So start to acknowledge that and see how little changes can make such a big difference. Now you're not one of those people. You're one of these individuals that have firepower, and you do move a little bit differently. You do carry yourself with a different demeanor once you have that financial structure. You're not too, I guess you can say, dependent on your job. You're not too dependent on being a people pleaser. You can be more of yourself. You can carry yourself with more confidence. You can carry yourself with a little bit more, I guess you can say, exposure to risk. You just do carry yourself. It has a positive impact in your life when you know you have a significant amount of money in the bank. And if you haven't realized it yet or experienced it yet, I promise you, once you have your first 10,000, 20,000, 30,000 in the bank, you'll notice as an individual, you do move with more confidence. You do carry yourself with a little bit more of a different mindset, and it helps you a lot throughout your lifetime to have this financial structure and I guess shelter for yourself to allow your mind to take those next steps. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Thank you guys for your time and watching. I hope this helps you guys. It's a good lecture that honestly I wish I would have had a lot sooner, and I hope to help as many of you guys as possible. Thank you guys for watching. Jerry Trades the SoCal Trading Group, over and out.